nailed it, wouldn't it?
Good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County. Welcome to Bradford and Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you here this morning. And Margie, we've got an overcast, but really a pretty nice day as far as temperatures go.
It is very nice and great for you to get out there and work in the garden or mow your yard or whatever anything else you need to do outside.
That's right, and it's hard to believe that the election is fast approaching.
It is. I mean, I have to keep looking at the calendar because I just can't think that it's but it's that close. I mean, tomorrow you can start early voting.
That's right, 3 days of early voting.
Yes, 30.
That's from. Tell us a little bit about the voting opportunities we have this week.
Well, you can. Are you talking about for whom you can vote or
early
what?
Voting?
Well, the early voting is that you can go to the library, Nelson County Library, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's early voting. The Nelson County Library will also serve as a voting place for anyone at any precincts. So if you don't know your precinct or unsure of it or don't like where your new precinct is, go to the library and vote at the library.
Now those hours, voting hours, I believe are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on beginning tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Is that right?
I think you're right on that. I'm trying to read the card, and I don't. The printing's small, so I can't read it quite as well.
Well, let me take a gander.
Yes, take a gander and see if I missed anything.
Yeah,
just remember that absentee ballots have got to be in by May 17th. They've got to be in by voting day. And if you don't have yours filled out, and go ahead and get it filled out, and either mail it right now or go drop it in the drop box. That would be at the library. At Sutherland Building. They have that drop box where you can put you don't have to worry about it being late in the mail.
Right. Yeah, the best couple of the COVID election we had.
Right.
We made, I think people made great use of that secure drop box in the front of the clerk's office.
Absolutely, they did, and it was a wonderful idea, and I think it's, that way you can be sure. You don't have to worry about it getting lost in the mail. Right,
and there's no question it's going to arrive.
Right, because they take that right in, it's secure.
Right, so that's a great service that, well, that's kind of one of the good things that happened due to COVID. It did,
and the use of the library for the early voting is, it's just a great service to the community because you can go in on a Saturday. There are a lot of people that don't vote because the voting on Tuesday is inconvenient for them. The hours they can't get there.
Right. Now on primary day, which is next Tuesday, May 17th, the polls, of course, will be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right.
And you should have received, if your election place poll has changed, and about half of them have.
Right.
And they've consolidated several of the smaller polling locations with the larger ones. For example, I used to vote at Souls Harbor Church, and then they combined us with the polling place at Cox's Creek Elementary, which is a much larger facility.
Well, I voted at the Sutherland Building, and now, according to the card that they sent me, I will now vote at the Bardstown Middle School.
That's right.
But I live near the library, so guess where I'm voting?
You're going to early vote at the library.
I'm going to early vote at the library.
All right. Anyway, and be sure and get out and cast your vote. If you have any questions about about where you need to vote, if you can't find that postcard, or if you spilled bean soup on yours like I did mine at home, and you can't read it anymore, call Jeanette Hall Sidebottom's office, the Nelson County Clerk, and that number is 348-1820, and they can certainly help you. And if you're not sure if you're registered or what party you're registered, or if you just want to double check they can help you with that as well.
Or if you have any questions about the absentee ballots.
Right. That's 348-1820. All right. Have we covered everything there?
I think we have.
All right.
I think we're ready to get to our guest.
That's right. He's been very patiently waiting.
It's our next to the last guest for this election.
That's right. We're just about down to the wire because we're almost down to the wire with the election.
Right.
All right. Without further ado, we welcome Mr. David Avis. David's an old Maple Hill scoundrel like myself, and from the old school, the old days. Absolutely. And anyway, David is I almost said the R word, David.
Yes.
Bite
your tongue.
The Democratic candidate for magistrate, 3rd District magistrate, which is for those of you who may not know what the 3rd District is, it's going to the western part of the county out towards Boston, out that way, and it's the district that Bernard Ice has represented for many, many years.
Yes.
And Bernard decided not to seek re-election this year, which left a wide open field. And so we're joined with David, who's one of 2 Democrats seeking that seat. And David, I know you to qualify to be a candidate, you have to live in that district, of course. Well, tell our listeners a little bit about who David Avis is, if you haven't known him as long as I have, and what you bring to the table and why you want to serve as magistrate.
Well, my introduction is going to be who I am, and like you said, where I'm from, so it takes about 4 minutes for me to do that, so I kind of want to take advantage of that. My name is David H. Avis. I put the H in there because there's 2 Davids running, so I want to distinctly say who I am. But I was born and raised in Bardstown. My parents are James Cripps Avis and Evelyn Yoakum Avis. I have there's 5 boys, 5 girls in my family. There's 10 of us as far as kids, and I want to mention their names because some people say, "Hey, I didn't know you was so and so's brother," and I would have voted for you. So anyway, the siblings are Liz Coulter, Marianne Greenwell, Johnny Avis, Teresa Helton, Richard Avis, Jerry Avis, Carolyn Clark, William Patrick Avis, myself, and Sarah Rogers. COVID took 2 of my oldest siblings, I guess. My sister Liz was the oldest, and in 2021 and in 2020, later part, Johnny Avis. Right. So they were taken by COVID. So, and then of course I had a sister die of colon cancer. So that's my family, and now my kids. I got 5 grown children. I'll just say my wife first, because Regina Avis. I've been married to her for about 40 years, and we got
about 40.
It's around about. I couldn't tell you exact date. We were just talking about that November. I'm wrong. I know it's 27th or 28th, but anyhow, we've been together all of our lives. But I've got 5 children. David Christopher. He's a Navy vet and a registered nurse. And I brag on him because he was the only male nurse at Galen School of College that was valedictorian. It was LPN and his RN, and that's the first time that's ever had that. Brandy, she works in kidney dialysis. Robbie, he works for Tire Automotive as a machine specialist for 13 years, and automotive, that's Auto Kenaton, the way they say that. Matthew, he graduated from University of Kentucky, has a bachelor's degree in arts science and human science, and he's an account executive for Blue Star. Sarah, she works for Tire Automotive as a compliance coordinator. She's been there 9 years. She's working on her bachelor's degree in human resource management. So they're all doing well. And I've lived in the district for 50 plus years, as you said, on Maple Hill, Dump Hill, and I live on Hubbard's Lane on a hill. Okay, everything's got to do with the hill. But I've lived within 4 miles all my life of where I was born, actually at Flagey Hospital.
Right.
And so I currently sit on the PVA Tax Appeals Board for Nelson County for about 6 years. I have attended more fiscal court meetings than any of my opponents or all of them put together. I've been involved in youth sports such as Nelson County Little League, developmental basketball for over 15 years. I'm retired from American Fujifilm 5 years ago with almost 30 years of service. I'm a past employee of the Nelson County Road Department. I am the owner of Avis Home Rentals. I have a background in construction, city sidewalks, retaining walls, water and sewer line reconstruction. I'm well versed in understanding blueprints, also framing houses. With the background, I will be able to vote on fiscal court matters with the knowledge I bring to the table. I understand firsthand about budgets and how to run a successful business. I am a member of the St. Joe Catholic Church. I attended St. Joe's School, grade school, where I made my first Holy Communion, and all of my family did. I graduated from Bardstown High School, took 2 years of welding at Nelson County High School. I've learned a lot of trades such as welding, masonry, concrete, heavy equipment, operator, plumbing, electric, etc. I am the candidate that has visited all the heads of all departments pertaining to Nelson County Fiscal Court, such as Nelson County Road Department, Brad Spalding, EMS Joe Pruitt, Nelson County Landfill, Solid Waste John Greenwell, Nelson County Jail Buck Snellen, went over the budget with Rhonda Fenwick, Sheriff's Department, Raymond Panaroa, Nelson County Fire Department, Boston Fire Department, City Police Chief, and attended City Council meetings. This is how I prepare myself for the days to come as magistrate in the 3rd District and for the betterment of Nelson County.
Okay,
That's
well,
my
we can
opening
just,
statement.
All right.
we can just leave here. Just-
So I can go do party line now.
we-
Yeah.
Well, David, now I can attest to the fact that you've been at a lot of fiscal court meetings and even city council meetings.
Yes, sir.
But what about what do you see are the county's 3 biggest challenges? Because as a magistrate, you take care of you watch over your district, but also your decisions have to also look at what's the best thing for the county. So what do you see as the 3 biggest challenges ahead?
Well, there's no certain order, but of course, the industrial park, the land use, we got to have more industrial land for businesses to come to Nelson County because everybody's fighting for them in every county.
Right.
And good paying jobs as far as that goes. Of course, you got the infrastructure, sewers and gas. Everybody talks about affordable housing, but that's kind of a touchy situation there. My biggest thing, I guess, is like the bypass, getting traffic out of town, downtown. Yeah. It's and I walk across the streets all the time up there, and the big trucks, the rock trucks, cement trucks, blacktop trucks, semis for some reason, they're all coming through downtown.
Right.
And I think the bypass, especially on the western corridor, it's already been set. It's just a matter of them just doing it, getting it done. So that'll relieve some of the traffic through town, and then they'll have to work on going towards the BG, south, of course,
right.
to get that traffic going that way. That's a big issue. For me it is, anyway. I think for most people that live here, it probably would be.
Well, is there any way of speeding that up?
I'm just running for magistrate, not governor. I can't. I can just tell you that all the land acquisitions have been done. I really don't know why they're holding it up. To be honest, I know it's the cheapest route, and it makes sense to get it over to 245.
Right.
And eliminate a lot of the traffic there. Now, just because you got a bypass don't mean that you have to go that way, but it will relieve a lot of traffic.
I mean, I would think that truck drivers would want to avoid
Absolutely.
downtown because you've
Absolutely.
got that roundabout, which is very difficult for those huge trucks to go around, because I've held my breath more than once watching one of them go around the courthouse.
Nobody parks on the right side of the courthouse coming from West Stephen Foster east around the courthouse, because if you park over on the right side, those trucks lean, and gravel is just spread. It'll spread all over the cars, of course, and they do tilt quite a bit.
Sure.
But I've been in town like all the time, and just walking across the street, especially for the tourist, there's a lot of traffic around lunchtime.
Oh, yeah.
That somebody eventually will get hurt in downtown. It's going to happen. if it's not relieved of the traffic. And the
Right.
speed is one thing too.
Right.
Right.
So there's a lot of
Right.
speed. But, so when you ask the question, I think those things, and of course, the future of the jail, the future of EMS, those some other issues.
Right, because and I think Judge Watts has kind of warned the magistrates and whatever future fiscal court and judge executive that at some point, as those costs continue to go up, and they will,
Oh, absolutely.
there's going to have to be some sort of reckoning, or where do you get more revenue?
Right.
Because the occupational tax is kind of stuck where it is. And,
Absolutely.
So, at some point, there's going to have to, there'll be some tough decisions necessary.
Well, we get about $1.4 million from occupational tax.
Right.
Where the city gets about $6.5 million.
Yeah.
So theirs is 1%, of course, the city, and the caps have been taken off.
Right.
So they've got an abundance of money compared to what the budget is on the county.
Right. Right. The now you've been to enough fiscal court meetings to I think give a good answer to this question. Are you happy or pleased? Does the fiscal court meetings being at 9 in the morning? Would you like to see some change in that? Because I know. I'm not always a very good morning person, but they haven't tried a night or evening meeting in many years. And do you think that? And I don't know that it would increase participation or not, but what are your thoughts on their meeting times?
Well, I'll say to people, if you ever been in one, it's pretty boring. But it's all predetermined, of course. The magistrates get all their information,
Right.
and unless there's something on the agenda that pertains to people, like the occupational tax at one time, but not a lot of people were outspoken about it and didn't show up. It's kind of like let the people vote for it, whether they want it or they don't want it. Now, City Council, of course, does there at 6 o'clock.
Right.
And I guess it works for them. For the county, they do it at 9, every other Tuesday. It's not to say that it couldn't be done. If people want it, sure. And then when they try it, and then, of course, people don't show up, then they'll go back to their norm. But there's nothing wrong with having a night meeting, so people can. And another thing, too, is get on the agenda. If you have an agenda, get on it so you can speak.
Right.
Because if you don't, it's a free-for-all. So you got to have stability, and there's a time for it to ask the questions and get the answers, but just not have people just speaking at random and nobody really understanding what you're saying. Or
Right. Now, at some point, some years ago, the judge would often say, does anybody in the audience have anything?
right.
But that's been changed. And but if you have something you want to address the court about, you just let him know in advance, and you get on the agenda.
Absolutely.
But is that a fair replacement for just kind of asking anybody have anything else? Because that does open it up to anything, Because you have to strike a balance, I think, between you want people to have access if they have a complaint or a question, but you don't want to lose control of the meeting at the same time.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the reason they have Robert's Rules of Orders is so you can get something accomplished in a meeting besides just everybody talking. I mean,
Right.
there's value in conversation, but if an assembly is meeting for a certain purpose, which is to accomplish whatever's on your agenda, you have to have some kind of order to it. And I would think, to me, the same thing would apply to public input. Yes, you can have public input, but get on the agenda.
Yes.
Make it part of the
Right.
meeting, and then limit your remarks so that everyone has an equal chance to say what they have to say, and that the people that you're talking to have an equal opportunity to hear everybody, and then consider what you've said.
Right.
If you're not on the agenda, and once the court has adjourned, anything after that doesn't mean anything except for conversation, and that's
Right.
all it is. It's conversation. So to get on the agenda is very important. And like myself, I get nervous about those kind of things, speaking in front of a bunch of people. But you can always go talk to your magistrates. The judge's got an open door policy. You can go in and talk to him anytime you want. So any information you want, you can do exactly what I did. You can go all the department heads. They encourage you to come and talk to them and get it from the horse's mouth, per se. And that's what I've done in my little campaign. Is if I lose, I'm going to be the most educated loser there is as a magistrate. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, that being said.
Well, David, you've been to enough fiscal court meetings to hear. You've heard the magistrates kind of banter about blacktop money, and I think in the last couple of years, they made a change in allocating the blacktop funds. Going more by the number of roads or the mileage or square foot or whatever. The 3rd District has the fewest roads by mileage. But the truth of the matter is that for every district, the pot of money that is divvied among the magistrates, that money goes further and covers less and less road mileage every year. I mean, the price fluctuates, but the installed, price of asphalt generally is on an upward trend and has been. Would you like to see some changes in how how asphalt money is distributed now? Now that's also recognizing that the judge executive has a pot of money that he can contribute to help out where a magistrate has doesn't have enough money to repair a road, and the state also has some emergency funds that they also kick in from time to time. But are you satisfied with the current method of distribution of the blacktop money?
Well, the state does definitely have flex funds, discretionary funds that they have. Basically, our area, District 3, is about 50-some miles of road. Other districts are larger, some 75 miles, 78 miles. So they do have the most mileage. And it's figured up, there's about $600,000, and it's divided 5 ways. So you do it, like you say, per mile or by square foot or however you want to do it. So it's equally distributed per mile. And I think that's fair. But now let's say my district's in great shape, because I'm going to ride around and find out if it isn't. So I know what my needs are going to be. Now, I'm willing to help my brother out too, brother magistrate. Say if we can afford to put more this discretionary funds towards you, then let's do it. Flex funds, let's do it. So the roads, I'm about the whole county, not just my district. So That's the answer that I have for you on the road fund.
Well, it's interesting because I know that Bernard Ice has done that in the past. When he didn't need the paving money, there was a greater need in another district.
Right.
And that's a great example of working together for the betterment of the county and not just looking out for your single district.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that is heartening to hear that because I think so many times.
Heartening or disheartening?
No, heartening.
Heartening, okay.
Heartening to hear
Make
that.
sure.
It's heartening to hear that
Thank
because
you.
so many times people think because you're elected from one area that you're elected to represent that area. Well, you are, but you're elected to represent the whole community. So that's a good thing to hear.
Yes, ma'am.
David, the county's industrial park is basically out of space. And what do you think the county's role would be in attracting new business here, and what to do about that?
Well, just from talking to the judge, I know that there's acquisitions for land at this moment. It all depends on how much they're going to have to pay for it. and how much is available, where it's available, the infrastructure, and that's kind of a city and county togetherness type thing there, that they'll join together and do those things. Definitely, it needs to be, because like I'd said before, we're going to have a fallout from Glendale and that factory down there, and you're going to have people. And I've been into, like, I'm not a realtor, but I've been into real estate. I've probably bought over 100 parcels over my time, and so we try to focus closer down that way, because if you can buy it cheap, you're going to sell it for more, and so the closer you are to those areas, you're going to get more bang for your buck. So that's kind of the way I focus when I buy properties, because I know it's filtering here. Now, to say it's 20 miles, 30 miles away doesn't make any difference, because there's people living here that work in Louisville. It's no big deal. So you have to do that from that fallout, that you're going to have other industry coming that has something to do with Ford and with the batteries. So it's kind of like the car industry here from Georgetown. You know, you have all these, something to do with cars or autos or something in Nelson County. And so, and for higher paying jobs, so people can afford to live and be comfortable and to buy them a home, things that everybody wants, not basically just to rent the rest of your life. But there's some people that want to rent. And go ahead.
Well, David, you touched on affordable housing, and this is an issue that keeps coming up, and I'm not sure what I don't have any answers for that. As prices go up, even starter homes, the prices of any home is going up because of materials and labor. But and I've even wondered, my wife and I have talked about this, maybe it's time to consider a new modular home or mobile home development, that just to make more affordable housing available in Nelson County. But that doesn't seem to be on anybody's radar. But I can tell you, when my daughter was living in Grand Rapids, she was in a big development of apartment buildings, large apartment buildings, but their next door neighbor was a really nicely done mobile home park. And I mean, they can be done to where they just really look nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them in Florida, of course, but there's a way to do it right. And sometimes I wonder why no one's proposed that here. Of course, the problem is, one of the problems, and we've talked about this before, is that sort of high density housing is going to have to be on sewers. You can't do septic tanks on those. And right now, the growth of high density housing around the county is stuck because we don't have sewers out in the county beyond where they're at now. And of course, we saw years ago, the private investors who built the line going out to Corman's Crossing to serve that, and how that just kind of ignited the growth along that whole corridor.
Right.
But those were private investors. It wasn't government getting involved in that. I don't know, what are your thoughts on affordable housing, David? I know that you, being an investor, an entrepreneur, right?
And mobile homes, absolutely, and most of it has been proposed, such as out at Rogan's. There was land there that belonged to the Wachowskis at one time, right? And they were wanting to propose a mobile home subdivision, and it was shot down through planning and zoning or whoever. I won't blame it on one person. And then out at on Boston Road, Stump's Mobile Home Subdivision. There's a difference between a mobile home subdivision and a trailer park or a mobile home park. Right. And the mobile home parks are where they have trailers side by side, and they're all on city sewers. We talked about
a mobile home park.
That's right, or a mobile home subdivision. And a subdivision would be where you own your own lot and you own your own home. So I say that because it is affordable. And then when you decide, like a first-time home buyer, they'll probably live there 2 to 3, 5 years maybe at the most, and they're going to upgrade because they're going to start saving money and be able to afford housing. So that being said, they got something they can resell. So they can make them a little deposit, put them on a 2 $200,000 house, because that's basically what you're going to buy now. The cheapest
Right.
is what you're going to buy is $200,000.
Incredible.
Now, I can kind of do an amortization just in my head on that. At $200,000 with zero down for 30 years at 5.5% interest rate, it's going to cost you $1,135 a month, okay? Now you got your taxes and your insurance. Now let's say we talk about subsidized housing. Let's say we do 3%, 30 years. We do it, I think the payment comes out to $840. That's about a savings of $300. But you always got your taxes and your fees, added to that, no doubt. So you talk about affordable housing or subsidized housing. There's two different things. Now, affordable housing, I think it's just gone away because of, like you said, materials. And I know about materials because we just built a house for my son last year. We physically built it. So we're able to do it cheaper because we done it ourselves.
Right.
And I was able to give him the lot to build it on. But you take a piece of, they call it Vantec. It was $30 at one time. Now it's $80.
What's that?
Vantec is waterproof flooring that you put down on your subfloors.
Okay.
So that's how high it went just within a year. 2x4s were like $3. They went up to $8 and $9. So if you look at the material cost, and then if you look at developers putting in roads, curbs, gutters, sewers, water taps, fees, especially your permits, and the lots they're selling out here on 49, a new development, $62,000 just for the lot, more than you probably gave for your house back in the day.
Now that's probably a lot large enough for sewers, right?
Yes, it should be.
I mean, for a septic.
It could be for septics. Depends on how far the sewer is going to go out. But then again, that's kind of the city type deal there, because cities, they supply the sewers and they get fees back from it. So it kind of pays off in time. It just takes time to do that.
Right. But you have to have somebody to build it, to get it out there, and then they accept it.
That's right.
So there's an investment there.
But it's like, I'm open to any ideas from the community to helping developers explore new ways to accommodate and making affordable housing financially beneficial for all people, not just subsidized housing or just anybody that wants a house that can afford it. And so, affordable, you might look at it a different way, and then I'll look at it a different way. I might be able to afford something that you can't. But it's because both partners work, and you have to. And I never relied on American Fuji Steel for my only income. I stayed busy into buying properties, flipping properties, remodeling properties. I know everybody can't do that, but I made myself do it as far as doing what I do and having the time to do it too. So, but I didn't do it sitting on the couch. And there's a lot of jobs out there right now, as you know, every restaurant you go to. Oh, I'm sorry you had to wait so long, but we're short on help. And so that's everywhere. Jobs are just, there's plenty of them, it's just they're not paying enough money for people to live, basically.
Well, I see jobs listed locally that, we talk about what the market will bear. Well, I see jobs, $18, $20 an hour.
Right.
And I know that those aren't necessarily easy jobs.
Right.
Some of them are physically demanding.
Right.
But I think they have to pay that to try to get people in, and even in some cases, it's a struggle.
Yes, and a lot of it incentive wages too. They're putting out there for people. But like getting back to the housing, I know I talked to Jan Johnson up there, and she kind of gives me a little information on. I think in February, March, and April, there was probably about 96 single home permits. And then there's about 12 2-units, double unit homes. But I went to every developer in Nelson County, and there's about 342 homes that you can build right now. Single family. There's 150 duplexes, but these are rental properties only out behind Lowe's.
Right.
Mr. Smith and them's building them. There's 33 townhomes, and then across from Fuji, there's 54 patio homes going up now.
Right.
So as far as homes, they're there, but they range anywhere from 200. The patio homes are going for probably about 280. When they started at 210 out here on Templin, they went from 210, second phase went to 220. Now the third phase is going to 280. So that ought to tell you something about materials, the cost. And the labor is not going down, it's going up.
Well, we have a housing shortage, as you know, anyway, for single-family homes. And it's, they go on the market, and if they don't have an offer that first day, it's a bad day,
I've got one I just remodeled over in New Haven, and it's pretty cheap. It's I give 90 for it. I put 10,000 in it. As far as the labor, I'm eating most of it, but I'm only asking 130 for it. So I've already got a contract on it, of course. But those kind of houses, like you say, they're going to go quick.
Yeah.
And be ready to spend more money to buy another one.
Right.
The way it is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, David, let's. We've got some commercials we need to get in.
Okay.
And so let's get those done, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up this hour with you.
Okay.
All right. You're listening to Bradford and Brooks and our great conversation today with another Maple Hill gang member, David Avis.
Chain guy.
We'll be back after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford and Brooks, Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford on this, it's overcast Wednesday, but it sure is pretty outside. The weather's nice. Just quickly, a reminder that early voting starts tomorrow. Can't believe it's here, Margie.
Nope.
From 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the main branch, the Bardstown branch of the Nelson County Public Library. If you're not sure where to vote, you can early vote tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. And voting, election day is Tuesday. There'll be no early voting on Monday, however, just be aware of that. If you're not sure where to vote, you can check the postcard you received in the mail. And if you're like me, can't find that postcard or can't read it, you can call the clerk's office, Nelson County Clerk Jeanette Sidebottom at 348-1820, and they can tell you where your precinct is. Or, of course, in addition to your precinct, you can always vote back at the library on Election Day. It'll be open to any Nelson County resident, just as long as you haven't voted.
Right. As long as you're registered to vote.
All right. We're back with David Avis, Democratic candidate for 3rd District Magistrate and a former Maple Hillian, as I am. And we've been recounting some of our glory days of the past, David.
Yeah, one of the Maple Hill Marauders.
Yeah.
All right. Well, David, I've got a few minutes here. You can tell us a little bit about, you were mentioning something during the break about the raises for county employees.
Right. I think there was talk about the 7% proposed rate for the employees, and absolutely I'm for it, because when I was working at Fuji, we'd have a 3-year, 4-year contract, and we usually get like 4%, 3%, 3%. Well, the county workers actually, in the 12 years here I've got, their percentages, if you averaged them all out, was 2.11. Okay, it's not even 3%, 4%. And it's not that well as far as maintaining your employees to get them up to where they need to be.
Right.
So at the 7%, that only still puts them up at 2.48%. So not even at 3%. So I'm all for giving them raises and retaining good workers right now, because they can go anywhere and make more money if they wanted to.
That's
if
right.
You don't raise the rates. And that being said, but anyway, in closing, I want to thank the people in District 3 that allowed me to put the signs up, and I'll pick them up on the 18th. And I've listened to all the other candidates, and the rest of them, they do have full-time jobs. I really don't know how they can really be a full-time magistrate. I am retired, and like I said, every day is a Saturday for me. I would appreciate people in the District 3 to vote for me and give me a chance to prove that I'll be there and I'll be available at all times. And just to let you know what a magistrate does, they're responsible for setting policy, enacting ordinances, approving the budget, and voting on all fiscal matters which pertain to a variety of direct and indirect county services, including roads, public safety, parks and recreation, and human services, etc. And I would like to actually protect the 170 employees that are employed with the county, make sure that we retain the workforce that we are blessed to have. I can't say enough about the people that are in charge of our services. I'd like to thank Dean Watts and the magistrates for doing a great service they do for Nelson County. I also want to thank the heads of staffs that allowed me to discuss each department. I'd like to give a shout out to Brad Spalding and Lee, the road department. Also, Rhonda Fenwick for going over the budget with me. I'd like to thank John Greenwell for the time he spent with me at the landfill and solid waste. Mr. Pruitt, the EMS, and Eva, his wife. Also, Raymond Panaroa for taking time to talk with me, the sheriff. I would like to thank Buck Snellen for the tour of the jail. I would like to thank the Boston Fire Department. The mayor, Dick Heaton, sat down with me, and then discussing some of the issues that the county and the city can work together on. Thank Tracy Bonzo at the PVA, Jan Johnson Crow, for the time I spent with her. And so I just asked you for your vote. I am David H. Avis, and I will work harder for you. And I want to give a shout out to my wife, of course. She's been going with me and doing the signs and the cards. My son, Robbie.
She's been putting up with you then.
She's been putting up with me. And my son, Robbie, anytime I called on him, he was there. And self-appointed campaign manager is Jimmy Yoakum, which is my first cousin. And he's been a tremendous help. He's a little slow about running door to door, but he's got a little weight on him. But he did a great job. I just want to thank those people for sure.
All right.
That's helped me along the way.
All right, well, David, thanks for coming in today. And that's going to do it for today's Bradford and Brooks. We will be back Friday with another very special Bradford and Brooks at 11 o'clock. Stay tuned. See you then.